Hi everybody, it's Valerie. Welcome to today's One Card Wonder Wednesday for Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. Pull up my video. If I pull it up before I start, it never comes on, so I have to do this while I'm talking. Today we're going to use the Daisy Lane stamp set. This is a new set that is in the new annual catalog that comes live on June 4th. I have ordered my catalogs. They should be arriving tomorrow. If you want one and you're not on my list, make sure you private message me. I'll need your address so I can get one to you. So anyway, this is the stamp set we're going to use. We're going to use only two colors, Gray Granite and Garden Green for inks. I am going to use a couple of different blends, but I'll show you that in a few minutes. I'm going to show you this quick, easy card that we're going to do. And how gorgeous is that? It's just super simple. We're going to use the Daisy Punch, which coordinates with this. Stampin' Up! Is also coming out with a smaller Daisy Punch that will punch this image, which will be fantastic, because to make some of this I had to cut my little daisy down in size for a couple pieces. And had I had that smaller punch, which is not available yet, it would have been much easier to do. But I wanted to make this cute card because I thought it was just something that would be, all the flowers are out right now, so let's just go ahead and do this. I had some daisies that I bought the other day, and they were just gorgeous. Their centers were still green. They, weren't even yellow yet, so that's why I chose to do this with that little green color in the center. And then on the inside, you've got this cute little daisy stamped in there. Hi, Lois, how are you? I'm gonna set this card aside, and we'll just get started with the stamping. So I took a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I have the little stem here that goes with that daisy, and I used Garden Green. Now, I didn't want to go too light of a color because I want it to look true to what nature has, and their stems are a little bit darker than what the green in the center of the flower is that I did. So all I did was went ahead and just stamped this pretty close to the center. I guess I didn't get enough coverage there. Let me flip it over. We're going to do one more. Didn't get quite enough ink on that, so you always have two sides to the paper. Perfect. So it's kind of, so it's in the center. The bottom of the stem, because it curves, kind of goes off a little bit, but that's okay. Not a big deal. You just have that flipped that way a little bit. Once I had that stamped, I went ahead and ran this piece of paper through the Big Shot using the subtle embossing folder, and that's where, I got this little, I don't know if you can see it on camera, hopefully you can, but that subtle embossing that's on there. But I went ahead and did one, so maybe you can see the difference when I have the two of them next to each other. There's a little bit of texture on the right-hand side. I went ahead, like I said, and ran one through so it would be done already. So the next thing you do is you're going to get your Daisy Punch out. And this is in the current catalog right now, and it will be in the new catalog. And like I said, they're going to have one smaller size, which will be fantastic. So I cut 3, and I like to do it this way just so I can see where I'm getting it in the paper now. Of course, now my paper is going to get stuck inside there because I'm on camera. Sometimes the Daisy Punch gets a little temperamental because of all those little pieces when you try to move it. But most of the time it's pretty, it just slides right out and then you can do your next one. I punched 3. And then I punched a couple of extras that didn't even have to be whole ones. They could be, and there it goes, getting stuck on that end again too. You can just do halves, because I just need a couple of extra little pieces. Boy, this is not making a good advertisement for the Daisy Punch, the way my paper's getting stuck in here. Because I just need some of the extra pieces for the center of the flower. But once you get those punched, just take all 3 of your full-size images. You can set your little pieces aside. And then take your, anything that's curvy, like I'm going to use the end of my bone folder. And I'm just going to just curve the tips up of the petals just a little bit. They don't have to be curved a lot, because if you put this in an envelope, it's going to end up getting, the petals will get smashed anyway. So I think this is probably more of a hand delivering card maybe, or unless you have, if you're going to put it in a bubble envelope, that would be okay. I'm sure it would keep them up like that. I know I've done this techniques with other cards and other petals, and I just ripped one off. That's all right, we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna keep that one ripped off. We got lots of extra petals here that we're putting on the card, so it's okay. So we're just gonna curl these ones up as well. We probably aren't gonna use all of these extra ones, but we will be using some of them. So I'm gonna use this as my bottom layer since I, busted it. And we're gonna take some glue dots. Let me get to where my glue dots are. And I'm just gonna put a glue dot in the center of that. And then I'm gonna layer one of these over the top of it. And I'm just gonna kind of, not directly over the other petals, but just kind of offset it a little bit. And then I'm gonna get on the back of this one, and I'm gonna do the same. I'm just gonna offset it. And look, you don't even notice that that one petal is missing, right? Perfect. All right, rip that extra paper off from that. And then I'm gonna take these other petals, and I'm just gonna cut them off. And I'll go ahead, since we got that extra one there, I think I need 6, but I will go ahead and just cut all of them just in case. I don't know how many I'm going to use. So just super easy, just cut those petals off. And then we're gonna use glue dots for those. And now the reason I did this was when I was trying to put this little clear faceted gem in the center of this flower is bigger than that gem, and I didn't want that extra showing. I wanted it to just be the start of the petals. So I'm just gonna take these extra petals and move them in just a little bit. Because when you notice, when you have a flower like a daisy, there are some shorter petals in the center and than there are on the outside of the flower. So this was perfect. It was just another way to make it look more like a real daisy. Hi Aria, how are you? So just a glue dot on each one. Now I could have put a couple glue dots in the center and tried to get these all stuck on there, but sometimes that just doesn't quite work. So I figure if we glue dot each one, that glue dot's not gonna work. It's got the paper from the back of this one stuck to it now. I didn't quite pull hard enough to get it pulled up. So when I said I thought I used 6, I'm probably gonna use 7, so it's a good thing I had some extras. And then we're gonna take one of those clear faceted gems, and that's gonna be the center of our flower. And then right there in the center, I'm just gonna put one glue dot down because I wanna give it, since this has a little bit extra height, it'll give it a little bit extra height and a little more stick for the faceted gem. I don't think the faceted gem would come off, but I wanted to make sure there was enough adhesive just in case. So what I did with the clear faceted gem is I just took my Granny Apple Green blend because that's an alcohol-based marker. You can color rhinestones, you can color these clear things, and even if you have rhinestones that are a different color, if your blend color is darker than that, you can usually color it, and they dry really fast. I mean, look at that, it's already dry. So that's why I'm gonna post a picture of my daisies with the green centers so you can see what it looked like and why I chose this as my card. Let me find my dimensionals. I went over to a friend's house today and we worked on planning some cards for my Everything is Rosy medley class that's going to be at the end of the month. If you order the Everything is Rosy bundle from me, and I have a special host code for that, then you get to be you'll be invited to the special Facebook group that's going to have that video for that class. So I was designing some cards today for that. It was so much fun. The bundle is fantastic. If you don't have it, you need to buy it. It's just plain gorgeous. So basically we have all of this done. The next thing we need to do is we're just gonna stamp using the gray granite. And I probably should have stamped this first because it's gonna need some time to dry, but we're going with it because we're on camera already and I wasn't even thinking about it. It's a little bit crooked, not too bad. It'll still work. It will still work. So basically, the next thing I did was kind of a pain in the booty, but I did it. I took some of the mini dimensionals and I had to cut them into 4s. So I took one of these tiny dimensionals and cut it into 4s. because I wanted the adhesive that I used for underneath this vellum, I wanted it to be, and I'm going to put them directly on here because I know right about where they're going, instead of flipping my vellum over since my vellum is wet. I only used 3 of them, and this one's actually going to go on the card, so I'm just going to set this one aside, keep it stuck to my paper piercing tool. I'll go ahead and grab the card. We're just going to fold this over. I used the thick Whisper White cardstock for this one, and because I'm going to bend it a little bit different, it might get a couple of frayed pieces at the end. Yeah, so I'm just going to trim those off with my scissors. You might not be able to see those on there, but there's just a couple of little, and that's only because I tried to bend it different after I already bent it. The thick cardstock is just a little bit less forgiving as the regular Whisper White. So anyway, we'll go ahead and throw some dimensionals on the back of this, and once we get those on the back of that, we'll be able to flip that over, attach it to the front, and I'll put the rest of the other dimensional that's going on the back of the vellum. And like I said, because it's still wet from where I stamped it, I don't want to flip that over or touch that ink because it will smear really easily on that vellum. And now you can use, hi Kelly, hi Lisa Marie, you can use your heat tool to dry it, and it will dry pretty quickly if you do that. But I don't have my heat tool right here by my desk, so I am just going to lay this on here just to make sure I'm getting this last tiny piece of dimensional in the right spot, and then we'll use this paper piercer to help peel up those little cover sheets off from the adhesive. And then we'll stick our vellum right on there. It'll be able to dry in its own time now. Don't have to worry about smearing it because I'm not going to touch the ink. Ta-da, look at that. And now, you may not be able to see it from where you're at on camera, but you can see these little adhesives showing through. So, I'm just gonna quickly cover those up with some sequins from the adhesive back sequins. These are called the basic ones because you got just some basic colors like white. You've got this awesome gray granite color, which I'm going to use one of those. I'm just going to go directly over the top of where that one's not sticking right. I think I tried that one before and it's only got a partial glue dot underneath it or something. Just get them all stuck on there, and there you have it. That's the outside of the card. We're going to go ahead and flip it open, but because this daisy will kind of hold it up, that ink is not going to touch. Get the gray granite ink out again, and we'll go ahead and stamp. I just stamped this other daisy image that is in the set with this one because I just wanted something small inside. And then I went over it with the Granny Apple Green through the center, but because it was a little too green and not quite enough yellow in there, I went ahead and took Pineapple Punch too. So I kind of mixed those two together just to get a more of a yellow green in that center. And it just gave it just enough so it looks more like the daisies that I have at home that I bought the other day. So there you have it. There's today's cards. It is super quick, super easy to do. If you don't have the daisy punch, it's a great one to get. And of course, after you saw it get stuck with my paper, that happens sometimes just because of all those little tiny pieces of paper sticking out, and I was probably trying to pull it out too fast because I was in a hurry. I don't know why, just because I'm on camera, I feel like I need to rush, but I really shouldn't. I should take my time so you all can enjoy the video longer. But anyway, if you enjoyed this card, just go ahead and get that daisy punch. I mean, that's the first step. And when Daisy Lane comes out on June 4th, you can get the Daisy Lane stamp set to go with it. And this daisy will have a punch to match. So there'll be the larger daisy punch, which is this one that I have, and then there's going to be a medium-sized daisy punch, which I can't wait to get because I think that will really make it pretty for layering different cards using that. Instead of having to cut all the little petals like I did for this one, you could just layer one of these smaller daisies on there. Hi Laura, how are you? And this was simple. Gray granite, garden green. You got a couple of blends to color this under, and if you wanted it just yellow, you could use just Daffodil Delight or something like that as well. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you're going to have a great evening, and I will see you again next week for One Card Wonder Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Bye.